Imagine waking up one day and realizing that your entire life has been a series of rehearsals. You've been practicing the same routines, living the same days, and calling it a life. The truth: you're not living. You're existing in a bubble, a soft, predictable, suffocating bubble called your comfort zone. It's warm, it's familiar, but it's also a trap. And the worst part, you've convinced yourself it's enough. But it isn't, is it? Deep inside, there's a quiet ache, a whisper that keeps tugging at you. Something isn't right. That whisper is the truth trying to break through. It's the part of you that knows there's more to experience, more to create, more to be. The question is, are you brave enough to listen? Here's the thing: the comfort zone doesn't let go easily. It keeps you locked in place with the promise of safety, but that safety is an illusion. The life you're meant for, the one that sets your soul on fire, exists just beyond it. Yet stepping out feels terrifying, doesn't it? Fear rises like a wave, threatening to drown you before you even begin. But what if fear isn't the enemy? What if it's the compass pointing you exactly where you need to go? Think about this. When was the last time you truly felt alive? Not just content or fine, but fully, deeply alive. That feeling doesn't come from comfort. It comes from the unknown. It comes from stepping into a space where you don't have all the answers, where you might stumble, might fall, but also might soar. The journey begins not with action, but with awareness. Pause for a moment. Notice your thoughts. Notice how often they pull you back into the familiar, convincing you that staying here is better than risking failure. But what if you could see those thoughts for what they are: just thoughts, not truths? The moment you realize this, the cage begins to crack. Now, take one small step. That's all it takes to shift everything. One conversation you've been avoiding, one choice that feels just slightly uncomfortable, one moment of saying yes when you usually say no, or no when you always say yes. That single step plants the seed of transformation. Here's a secret: the outcome doesn't matter. It's not about whether you succeed or fail. What matters is that you moved. That single act sends a signal to yourself, to life, that you're ready to grow, ready to change, ready to wake up. Feel the fear as you move forward. Let it course through you, not as something to escape, but as something to embrace. Fear only has power when you run from it. When you face it head on, you realize it's nothing more than energy you can transform into strength. The life you want, the person you're meant to be, isn't waiting for you in the distance. It's waiting right now, in this very moment. All it takes is the courage to step beyond the walls you've built around yourself. One step today, another tomorrow, and before you know it, the walls disappear. This isn't just about breaking free. It's about becoming someone new, someone braver, wiser, more alive. The question is, will you step forward, or will you stay where it's safe, where nothing ever changes? The door is open. The choice is yours. You've been standing still for far too long, trapped in a life that feels comfortable, predictable, and safe. But deep down you feel it, don't you? That quiet restlessness whispering to you, telling you that this isn't enough. It's not a passing feeling, it's a truth buried under layers of doubt and fear. The life you want, the life you've been dreaming about, is not some far-off destination. It's already here, hidden just behind the walls you've built to keep yourself safe. And those walls, they're not real. For too long, you've convinced yourself that your comfort zone is a place of security, a haven. But what if I told you that your comfort zone is actually a prison? Every day you stay in it, you're repeating a life that isn't truly yours. Those walls you've built, those fears you've carried, they are the very things holding you back from the freedom you crave. You think they're protecting you, but in reality they're keeping you stuck, frozen in place, never moving forward. And here's the shocking truth, the fear you feel when you think about stepping out of that comfort zone. It's not a warning, it's a signal. It's the signal that you are about to grow, evolve, and become someone you've never imagined you could be. The fear isn't your enemy. It's your guide, urging you to take the step into the unknown, to leave behind the illusion of safety, and embrace the discomfort of change. But how many times have you hesitated? How many times have you felt that tug in your soul, that whisper urging you to act, and ignored it? You've heard it, haven't you? That quiet, persistent voice inside you telling you to move, to try, to begin. But you've pushed it aside, thinking it was just fear, or worse, doubt. Here's the truth, that whisper is the voice of your true self, and it's screaming at you to wake up. You don't need a grand leap or a perfect plan to begin. All you need is to take one small step. It's not about making the perfect decision or having it all figured out. It's about choosing movement. A single uncomfortable action, a conversation, a choice, a risk can shatter the illusion of safety and set your entire journey in motion. You might be thinking, but what if I fail? The answer is simple, so what? Failure is not the end, it's the beginning. Each failure is a lesson, a step toward the person you are meant to become. And success? It's just a byproduct of movement, of persistence. The outcome doesn't matter as much as the act of moving forward. Here's the most shocking part, the life you want is already waiting for you. It's not some distant dream you have to wait years to reach. It's right here, just on the other side of those walls you've built. The walls of fear, doubt, and past failures. They're not as solid as you think. They're illusions created by your own mind to keep you trapped in the same cycle. But once you take that first step, once you dare to move, no matter how small, the walls begin to fade. When you step through them, you'll see the truth, the life you want is already yours. Freedom, purpose, fulfillment, they were never far away. They were waiting for you to choose them, to make the decision to step through your fear, your doubt, your comfort zone. The moment you act, you will realize that those walls were never real. But the choice is yours. You can stay where you are, waiting for the perfect moment that will never come, or you can move. The first step is all it takes. And once you take it, the journey will unfold before you in ways you never imagined. The fear, the doubt, the resistance you feel, they are not there to stop you. They are there to push you forward, to help you grow into the person you were always meant to be. The life you want is waiting, just on the other side of those walls. Step through them. Take that first step, and let the journey transform you. The comfort zone is a seductive illusion. It feels safe, warm, and reassuring. It's the place where you know what to expect and where surprises are rare. At first glance, it seems like a refuge, a space where you can avoid failure, rejection, and uncertainty. But what if I told you it's not protecting you at all? What if the comfort zone is not your sanctuary but your prison? Every day spent in the comfort zone is a day lived on autopilot. You wake up, follow the same patterns, and go to bed, convincing yourself that tomorrow will bring change. Yet tomorrow becomes another repetition of today, and the cycle continues. Over time, this routine starts to feel normal, even permanent. But deep down you sense it, don't you? That quiet discomfort, that nagging thought that there has to be more to life than this. That feeling isn't a mistake, it's your inner self trying to wake you up. Living in your comfort zone is like practicing a life that isn't fully lived. Imagine rehearsing the same scenes in a play over and over, never performing on the real stage. There's no risk, no audience, and no stakes. But there's also no growth, no discovery, and no fulfillment. The world outside your comfort zone is the stage where your true potential lies, but stepping onto it requires courage. So, how do you break free from the grip of comfort? It starts with awareness. Pause for a moment and take a look at your life. How often do you choose familiarity over the unknown? How many dreams have you shelved because pursuing them felt uncomfortable? This recognition is the first step. You cannot change what you do not see. Once you've acknowledged the trap, the next step is to embrace the fear that comes with stepping out. Fear is a natural response to the unknown. It whispers warnings, urging you to stay safe, but here's the truth: fear is not your enemy. It's a signal that you're about to grow. Instead of running from it, sit with it. Feel it fully. Don't judge it or try to suppress it. Notice how it rises and falls, how it loses its grip when you simply allow it to be. With fear in perspective, take one small step toward the unfamiliar. The key here is small. Don't overwhelm yourself by trying to change everything at once. Choose something manageable yet slightly uncomfortable. It might be speaking up in a meeting, reaching out to someone you admire, or starting a project you've been procrastinating on. This single step, though small, disrupts the inertia of your comfort zone and sets the wheels of transformation in motion. As you take these steps, let go of the need for immediate results. It's not about whether you succeed or fail, it's about the act of moving forward. Every action, no matter how minor, is a message to yourself that you are ready to grow. Success may bring confidence, and failure will bring lessons, but both will move you closer to the life you're meant to live. Through this process, stay rooted in the present moment. Growth happens here, not in some distant future. When you take a step, feel the sensations in your body, notice the thoughts that arise, and welcome the discomfort. This presence transforms the journey itself into a source of fulfillment. Breaking free from your comfort zone is not a one-time event. It's a practice. Each step leads to another, and as you continue, you'll notice something incredible. The comfort zone doesn't disappear, it expands. What once felt terrifying becomes familiar, and what once felt impossible becomes your new reality. The truth is, the comfort zone was never protecting you. It was keeping you small, quiet, and hidden. Life, in its fullest expression, is waiting for you outside its walls. The question is, will you take the step? Will you dare to leave behind the illusion of safety and step into the vast, exhilarating unknown? The door is open. The choice is yours. Take the step. There's a voice inside you, quiet but persistent. It doesn't shout or demand, it whispers. It speaks to you in moments of stillness, in the spaces between distractions. You might hear it late at night when the world is quiet, or during a pause in your day when your mind briefly drifts. It's the whisper of restlessness, and it knows the truth about your life. This restlessness isn't random. It's not a flaw or a nuisance to be silenced. It's your inner self, the deeper part of you, calling for more. More than routines, more than the roles you've been playing, more than the compromises you've been making with your dreams. It's trying to get your attention, urging you to wake up, to recognize that the life you've settled for isn't the life you're meant to live. But what do most of us do with this whisper? We ignore it. We drown it out with noise, busyness, entertainment, endless scrolling, or a rigid attachment to what's familiar. We convince ourselves that the ache it brings is just stress or a passing mood. But here's the truth: ignoring the whisper doesn't make it go away. It only deepens the ache. That ache is a signal. It's a sign that something within you is misaligned, that you're not living in harmony with your true purpose. The more you suppress it, the louder it becomes, not in volume, but in impact. It begins to manifest as frustration, dissatisfaction, or even a sense of emptiness, no matter how much you achieve or accumulate. The whisper inside you isn't here to torment you. It's here to guide you. It's your compass, pointing you toward a life of meaning and authenticity. But to hear it, you must be willing to stop running from it. You must turn toward it, sit with it, and truly listen. Start by creating space for stillness in your life. It doesn't require hours of meditation or a drastic lifestyle change. Just a few minutes of quiet each day, where you sit with yourself without distractions. Notice the thoughts and feelings that arise. Don't judge them or try to change them, just observe. The whisper will emerge in this stillness, subtle but clear. When you hear it, ask yourself, what is this restlessness trying to tell me? What desires, dreams, or passions have I buried? What am I avoiding or denying because it feels too uncomfortable or uncertain? Be honest with yourself. The answers may surprise you, but they will also free you. Listening to the whisper is only the beginning. The next step is acting on what it tells you. This doesn't mean you need to make drastic changes overnight. Start small. If the whisper tells you to create, begin by dedicating a few moments each day to your craft. If it tells you to connect, reach out to someone you've been thinking about. If it tells you to leave, start by exploring what a new path might look like. The key is to honor the whisper, no matter how small the step. Each time you act on it, you strengthen the connection to your inner self. You begin to rebuild trust in yourself and your intuition, and that trust becomes a powerful force for change. Over time, the ache transforms. It's no longer the pain of a life unfulfilled, but the energy of a life in motion. The whisper no longer feels like restlessness, but clarity, guiding you toward your true path. The life you're meant to live is already calling to you. The whisper knows the way. Will you listen, or will you continue to silence it, burying the ache beneath layers of distraction? Listening to the whisper could change everything. It's not too late to start. It's never too late to begin again. Fear is a word that sends shivers down the spine. It's an emotion we've been taught to avoid, a sensation we label as bad, dangerous, or even paralyzing. But what if everything you've been told about fear is wrong? What if fear isn't here to hold you back, but to show you the way forward? Think about it. When do you feel fear the most? It's not when you're sitting comfortably in your routines. It's when you're standing on the edge of something new, something uncertain. Fear shows up when you're about to grow, evolve, and step into a version of yourself that you've never known before. Far from being your enemy, fear is your guide. It's the signpost pointing to where your greatest potential lies. But here's the challenge: fear doesn't come wrapped in encouragement or reassurance. It comes with a pounding heart, shaky hands, and a mind full of what-ifs. It demands that you face discomfort and take a leap without knowing where you'll land. Most people interpret this as a warning to turn back, but the truth is, this is exactly when you should move forward. Fear, at its core, is energy. It's your body and mind recognizing the unknown and preparing you for action. The problem arises when you misinterpret this energy as a reason to stop. Instead of fighting or fleeing, try something different. Feel it. Sit with the fear. Close your eyes and notice how it feels in your body. Is it a tightening in your chest? A flutter in your stomach? Observe it without judgment. You'll notice something profound. Fear, when fully felt, loses its grip. It's not as overwhelming as you thought. Once you've made space for fear, you can begin to work with it. Ask yourself, what is this fear trying to teach me? Often fear isn't about real danger, but about perceived loss of comfort, control, or certainty. But growth requires you to let go of these illusions. You can't expand your life while clinging to what's safe and familiar. The next step is to take action despite the fear. Don't wait for it to disappear, it won't. Fear doesn't vanish before you take the leap, it transforms after. Start with something small but significant. Maybe it's sharing an idea you've been holding back, applying for that opportunity you've been avoiding, or saying yes to something that scares you. The key is to move forward, even if you're trembling. When you take that step, something incredible happens. The fear doesn't grow, it shrinks. What once felt like a towering wall becomes a small hurdle, and in its place you'll find confidence. Confidence isn't the absence of fear, it's the realization that fear doesn't control you. Each time you face your fear, you evolve. The situations that once terrified you become your new normal. And as you continue this process, you begin to see fear for what it truly is: a sign of growth, not danger. Imagine what your life could be like if you stopped running from fear and started embracing it. Think of the dreams you've set aside because they felt too risky, the opportunities you've missed because they felt too big, the relationships you've avoided because they felt too vulnerable. Fear has been standing at the door to all these possibilities, not as a guard but as a guide, waiting for you to step through. The next time fear rises, don't turn away. Look it in the eye and say, I see you. Feel it, welcome it, and let it propel you forward. Fear isn't your enemy. It's the sign that you're alive, growing, and stepping into the person you're meant to be. Step into your fear, and you'll discover that it was never trying to stop you. It was leading you to your greatest self all along. Transformation doesn't come from dramatic, sweeping changes. It doesn't require a grand gesture or a monumental leap into the unknown. The truth is far simpler and far more profound. Change begins with one small step. Just one. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast and unfamiliar forest. The idea of crossing it feels impossible. The distance is too great, the path too unclear. But then you notice something: you don't need to cross the entire forest in a single moment. All you need to do is take one step forward. And with that first step, the journey begins. This is the power of one small step. It's deceptively simple, yet life-changing. Most people get stuck because they think they need everything figured out before they begin. They believe they need courage, certainty, or a perfect plan. But what if all you need is the willingness to take one uncomfortable action? That action could be as simple as having a conversation you've been avoiding, saying no when you've always said yes, or choosing to try something new. It doesn't need to be grand or perfect. It just needs to be something that nudges you out of your comfort zone, even slightly. Here's why this works. Small steps bypass the resistance of the mind. When you think about making a massive change, your mind floods you with reasons why it's too hard, too risky, or too uncertain. But a single step that feels manageable, it's less threatening, and because of that, it's something you can do now. The beauty of small steps is that they build momentum. Once you take the first step, the second feels easier, and the third even more so. Action creates energy, and energy propels you forward. Before you know it, the small, seemingly insignificant actions accumulate into real change. Taking a single step also shatters the illusion of safety. The comfort zone may feel secure, but it's an illusion designed to keep you small and stagnant. When you step out of it, even slightly, you realize the walls around you were never real. You start to see that the fear holding you back wasn't as overwhelming as it seemed. But what if you stumble? What if the step doesn't go as planned? That's where the true power of small steps lies. Failure in a single step isn't catastrophic. It's a lesson, a moment to adjust and try again. The risk is low, but the rewards, growth, clarity, confidence are immeasurable. When you take one small step, you also send a powerful message to yourself. You're telling yourself that you're capable of moving forward, even in uncertainty. This self-trust builds over time, creating a foundation for larger leaps in the future. So where can you start? Begin by asking yourself, what's one thing I've been putting off because it feels uncomfortable or uncertain? Don't overthink it. Choose something small but meaningful. Then, commit to taking that step today, not tomorrow, not someday, but now. As you act, stay present. Notice the discomfort, but don't let it paralyze you. Instead, see it as proof that you're growing. Growth never feels comfortable, it feels alive. The journey to transformation isn't about leaping into the unknown all at once. It's about starting where you are with what you have and taking that first step, and then another, and another. Your life doesn't change in a single moment, it changes in a series of small, courageous actions. One step can shatter the illusion of safety and set your entire journey in motion. All you have to do is take it. Will you? We live in a world obsessed with outcomes. Success is celebrated, failure is feared, and everything in between is often overlooked. But what if this fixation on results is what's truly holding you back? What if the real power, the real transformation, lies not in whether you succeed or fail, but simply in the act of moving forward? Think about it. How many times have you stopped yourself from trying something new because you were afraid of failing? How often have you measured your worth by the results you've achieved or haven't achieved? This endless cycle of attaching your value to outcomes is exhausting, isn't it? And yet, it's all a distraction from what truly matters: movement. When you take a step forward, you're doing more than just acting. You're declaring to yourself and to life that you refuse to remain stagnant. You're breaking free from the inertia that keeps so many people stuck in the same routines, the same fears, and the same unfulfilled dreams. This movement, no matter how small or imperfect, is the spark of transformation. The truth is, success and failure are not opposites. They're part of the same journey, and neither defines you. Success can be fleeting and failure is often the greatest teacher. But movement changes you. It strengthens you, shapes you, and brings you closer to your authentic self. Consider this: every time you move, you create momentum. The act of trying something, even if it doesn't go as planned, generates energy. That energy pushes you forward, revealing new opportunities, insights, and possibilities that you couldn't have seen from a standstill. Without movement, none of this is possible. Let go of the need to predict or control the outcome. Instead, focus on the process. What can you learn from the experience? How does it feel to step into the unknown? These are the moments that shape you, not the trophies or setbacks. Failure isn't the end, it's a beginning. Each time you fail, you learn something valuable. You discover what doesn't work, which brings you closer to what does. And success, it's not a destination. It's a byproduct of persistence, of showing up day after day, step after step. But here's the most liberating truth of all: movement is an act of freedom. It's a choice to live fully, to engage with life rather than waiting for it to happen to you. When you move, you're alive. You're growing, evolving, and becoming someone who isn't defined by results, but by resilience. So how do you start? By letting go of the fear of failure and the pressure of success. Choose one action that aligns with your heart, even if it scares you. Take it, not because you're guaranteed a particular outcome, but because it keeps you moving. As you act, pay attention to how you feel. Notice the rush of stepping out of your comfort zone, the thrill of trying something new. This is the real reward, not the applause of others, but the quiet, powerful realization that you are capable of more than you imagined. Life isn't about achieving perfection or avoiding mistakes. It's about the courage to keep moving, no matter what. The outcome of your efforts is secondary to the transformation that happens within you as you step forward. Each movement, each step, is a declaration: I am alive. I am here. I am growing. Whether you succeed, stumble, or soar, none of it matters as much as the fact that you moved. So what's stopping you? The future doesn't care about your fears or doubts, it's shaped by your actions. Take the step, move forward, and let the journey itself transform you into someone stronger, braver, and more alive than you ever thought possible. The life you dream of, the one filled with purpose, freedom, and fulfillment, isn't as distant as it seems. You might think it's years away, locked behind impossible challenges or waiting for the perfect moment. But what if I told you that everything you desire is already here, just on the other side of the walls you've built around yourself? These walls feel solid, don't they? They feel like reality, like unchangeable barriers keeping you where you are. But take a closer look. Are they as real as they seem, or are they illusions created by fear, doubt, and past experiences? Think about the stories you tell yourself. I'm not ready, what if I fail? This is just how things are. These thoughts are the bricks of your walls. They're built from moments when you played it safe, when you let fear decide for you, when you convinced yourself that settling was easier than risking. But here's the truth: those walls have no real power. The only thing keeping them standing is your belief in them. On the other side of these walls is the life you've been longing for. It's not some distant dream, it's closer than you think. The freedom to be yourself, the purpose that gives your days meaning, the fulfillment that makes life worth living, it's all waiting for you. But you can only reach it by stepping through the walls. The first step is recognizing that the walls are not who you are. They're just a story, a collection of beliefs and habits that no longer serve you. Start by questioning them. Ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? Is it failure, rejection, or the discomfort of change? Then ask the deeper question, what's the cost of staying where I am? The cost of staying is a life half-lived. It's dreams unfulfilled, potential unrealized, and a constant whisper in your soul asking, what if that whisper won't go away? It's there to remind you of what's possible. Once you see the walls for what they are, the next step is to act. You don't need to tear down the entire structure in one day, you just need to make a crack. Take one bold, uncomfortable step toward the life you want. It might be starting a conversation, saying yes to an opportunity, or finally letting go of something or someone that's been holding you back. As you take that step, you'll notice something extraordinary. The walls don't crumble with a loud crash. They simply fade, as if they were never real to begin with. The fears that felt so overwhelming lose their power, and in their place you'll find clarity and strength. On the other side, everything feels different. You'll breathe deeper, stand taller, and see the world with new eyes. You'll realize that the life you wanted was never out of reach, it was just waiting for you to claim it. But here's the catch, the walls will try to rebuild themselves. Doubts will creep back in, and the comfort of old habits will call to you. That's okay. Transformation isn't a one-time event, it's a practice. Each time you step forward, each time you face the walls and move through them, you become stronger. The process gets easier, and the life you want becomes your new normal. The question isn't whether the life you desire is possible. It's whether you're willing to step through the illusions that are keeping you from it. The walls aren't real. They never were. The life you want is waiting. It's been waiting all along. The only thing left to do is step through. Will you?